I just want to make sure that that's tied up against the timber. Now we'll also mask up those tuning peak holes and the truss rod. It's really important to just make sure no gunk gets inside that truss rod and affects the functionality of the truss rod. So I'll do that off camera. Next step from here, we'll be adding a prime coat, probably 2 prime coats, and then we'll follow that up with some solid black. I'm going to do this inside. I normally spray outside, but it's a pretty windy day. There's a fair bit of dust flying around, and this is a relatively small spray job. So I've just got it sitting in a box to catch any overspray. I'm using an acrylic enamel primer. This is Rust-Oleum 2X. So once you hear the rattle of the ball, you just generally shake it up for a minute. I've already shook this up for about half that off camera, so I'll just follow up quickly. And when we're spraying primer, important just to have the can on an angle and just work in strips. So as I said, it's a relatively small job, but we'll just spray from the top, work our way down, and each run will overlap by about 50%. As I said, I'll be doing 2 coats, so it doesn't matter if the first coat doesn't get full coverage. I'll be following that up, and the second coat will adhere nicely to the first coat. Now, it's also important that you do your coats while the previous coat is still a little tacky, so it adheres nicely. So what I'll be doing is doing 1 coat, waiting about 5 to 10 minutes, and following that up with the second coat. And just same as the first coat, so we're just doing long runs, overlapping by about 50%. Just work my way across. And I generally leave the first coat probably at that, and then follow up with a second and third heavier coat, and should get good coverage that way. What I'd recommend from here is sanding that flat, but staying at about a 400 grit paper, and not really needing anything lower than that. It's a nice flat surface to sand on, so what we're really trying to do is just sand it dead level. So keep that sanding paper nice and tight on the sanding block. Definitely use a sanding block. So as I'm sanding, I'm going to keep checking my work. If I hold the headstock up to the camera now, you can probably see some areas that are shiny and some areas that are not. So the areas that are shiny means the sandpaper hasn't affected yet, so it's not dead level. So the areas that are now looking a little bit like that shine's been removed, the sandpaper's actually affected that. So we're trying to get that dull appearance basically over the entire headstock without sanding through. So hence the high grit paper. Just doing long runs from the bottom to the top. I'll be doing 3 coats.